So this weekend was New York Toy Fair 2025, and on Saturday morning, I had shown a very early look at the Hyatt Toys booth. We now have clearer photos of the items that were at the booth, as well as clarification as to what exactly we were looking at. But there were some other booths there with some merchandise that's worth talking about, and so I just want to do this really quick recap of the weekend, show off some pretty notable reveals, as well as just some pieces of news. So here are some images from Toy News International of the Playmates Toys booth, and you can sort of see off in the corner here, Playmates Toys actually won the Circana Performance Award, which was awarded to one of the top, if not the top performing toy line of 2024. And that's really, really exciting because, you know, as kaiju fans, as Godzilla fans, it's awesome to see such an appreciation and such a warm reception in the general market for kaiju toys, even if that's not the same kind of stuff like from Monster Arts or Hyatt Toys that, you know, maybe more mature collectors are into. But just the fact that this is out there, that we're getting toys of characters like One Eye or Drowned Viper, like that is so exciting to me. And, you know, I'm really, really looking forward to seeing what else Playmates manages to do with their time in the license. And so here are some products that we've already seen before. Before we get into some new stuff, so here we have Burning Godzilla as part of their general Monsterverse line, and he'll come with a red beam, which is pretty cool. It's been confirmed in the video that Luminous posted that the Kong 2017 figure with the chain and the propeller, not Kong 2017, is it Kong 2017? Anyways, so he's going to be coming out again. He's going to come with a little helicopter, and I think the paint's been cleaned up a little bit as well. There's your real feel Godzilla. This is hitting stores in the States now. It's not quite out in Canada yet. Here is Battle Roar Shimo, but maybe I'm just not familiar enough with the Battle Roar Shimo figure, but she's looking a lot more detailed here in terms of texture. And so I'm not sure if they're reissuing it with like a new sculpt, or if they're doing a wash on it, or maybe this is just the Battle Roar Shimo. I'm not actually sure. Here, this is actually a really cool new Kong toy. He has a chest beating gimmick. I forget what triggers it, if it's moving the legs. But yeah, he'll beat his chest, which reminds me a lot of the, was it the Playmates Kong 2005 line? Yeah. So here's some of the stuff we've seen. This is the rolling, punching Kong. Shinra Jira put up a video of that one. Yeah, so here he is as you roll him along the floor. He punches. There is a Godzilla there as well. I think this is one of them. You can sort of see the cuts in the tail. Actually, no, this is just the Mega Heat, right? There's another Godzilla 21, like standard looking one, where as you roll him, he swings his tail around, which is really cool. So here are the new blind boxes that will be coming out this year. They've replaced the crystals from the New Empire movie, and as they're moving into their general Monsterverse line, this will just be what it looks like. This is the sort of cave drawings that we're used to seeing in the Monsterverse and at various points, as well as the vehicle that they use to get to Axis Mundi in Monarch Legacy of Monsters. And as you open one up, you can see King Ghidorah here, and so you get a sense of what the scale looks like. But more interestingly, there's this one here, and I don't think that's Mothra. It could be, but I think that this might be the monster from Monarch Legacy of Monsters that forces the protagonist's mom like to stay in Axis Mundi. I don't remember the characters' names, sorry, but I do think that this is a new Muto from that show. So it seems like they're going, you know, pretty hard with some new monsters from the Monsterverse. Here is a beast glove for your kids to wear, motion activated sounds. There's a switch you can see right here. It toggles between, I think, Kong sounds and Gauntlet sounds, which is just fun. You know, it's a lot of fun stuff. And then here it ends with the Kong and then the Godzilla. But notably, actually, I'm kind of surprised we didn't get a better look at these photos, or in these photos. On the right bottom side here, and actually maybe I'll just switch over here for a better image. Here is the Frostvark from Monarch Legacy of Monsters. It is so crazy to me that the Frostvark is getting a figure before Scylla, before Behemoth in the Playmates line, but he's getting a figure, We had the sense that they were going to be going into Monarch Legacy of Monsters because the Ion Dragon is now on the packaging for the new line. Here you can let me see. Here you can actually see him on the back of the package. So we knew Ion Dragon was coming, but now we've got Frostvark confirmed. That is so nuts to me, but I'm so stoked. I want them getting into all those nooks and crannies, all the deep cut characters. That is so amazing. Moving forward, we did get better looking photos from the Haya booth. So here we see they actually swapped the tags for Kyugoji and Meyer Goji. So here is the Godzilla 99 suit. Here's the Godzilla 2002 suit, and it was confirmed that these are in fact the new sculpts, and they do look really good. Both the Godzilla 2002 and the Mecha Godzilla. Here we have Mecha King Ghidorah, a closer look at him. I really like the weathering effect on the metal. It really looks like the suit that's used in the movie in terms of those finer details, which is really nice. Here we have Godzilla 2001. I am so excited for that figure. That's my favorite one. Here we have a look at Ghidorah, which is supposed to be coming out late next month, I believe. Here is the Godzilla 91 Hokkaido suit, and Heisenberg over at the Luminous News channel posted a video showing off the articulation on this figure, and it looks really good. It looks really smooth, but you know, the smoothness might just be a factor of the you know, the prototype and the stage that it's in, but there's like a really good amount of waist pivot, waist turn here. The tail looks really fluid. Overall, this figure is looking like it's going to be really solid. Here we have a closer look at the updated Mechagodzilla 1993, and yeah, he looks much closer to what we see in the movie. I personally liked how the solicitation prototype looked, but what can you do? Closer look at Kong. There's your exquisite stylist Shimo and Godzilla Evolved. Here we have Beast Glove Kong, and it is confirmed, you can see these little flaps here, that these actually articulate on the Beast Gauntlet, which is really cool. So Haya Toys, you know, they did show up with some newer, not newer, but I guess some updated prototypes, and it has since been confirmed, I actually don't have a photo of it right now, that the Monsterverse Ghidorah that we saw on the top shelf is officially called Ghidorah 2.0, at least for the time being. It does feature updated neck articulation as well as the gravity beams. So, you know, I think that it's really strange. I feel like it's a little bit of a Rorschach test, and people are seeing what they want to see in this Monsterverse 2.0. You know, there's a camp of people who think that, you know, this shows that Haya really listens to their audience and is willing to update their figures. And then there's another camp of people who are frustrated that, you know, they are coming out so soon after their initial releases with an updated version that the initial version you almost feel burnt by, which I like. I'm sympathetic to both sides. Like, yes, clearly they want to put out the best product they can, but at the same time, I think it's a matter of timing, right? Like, it hasn't even been a year since the gravity beam version of the first Ghidorah has been out in the wild, and we are now seeing this new version. Like, my comments on that video are filled with people who are like, I just got the gravity beam version. So I think it can be both, right? I think it can be like, yes, they want to learn and you know, put out the best figures that they can, but at the same time, it's an issue of timing. Like, maybe create some room between your releases, your updated releases, you know, allows new folks to kind of get into collecting the line, and it makes the people like me or whoever bought the gravity beam version not feel burned by the fact that, you know, we were there to support the first release of that character and only to be met with a second one that's a little bit better. Right, and that's the story of Haya's Monsterverse Ghidorahs. Like, they released the first one, solid. They released the second one that has gravity beams and it's $10 cheaper. Like, okay, cool. And now they're coming out with a third one that is just better than like both of the previous two, unless you like the gravity beam coloring on that second one. So I think it's somewhere in the middle. You know, for those who haven't picked up a Monsterverse Ghidorah yet, like, cool. I'm glad that option is there. But for the folks like me, it just doesn't sit right. I wish it had been a little bit longer before they unveiled that one, and maybe it will be. Maybe they won't put it up for sale for a while, but we'll just have to wait and see how that figure turns out. And then moving on, we got Super 7's booth, which had a lot of stuff. Admittedly, like, I wasn't expecting anything beyond Wave 3 of Ultimates, but they did show up with some new stuff. So you have a glow-in-the-dark Aurora Kit reaction, which I didn't even notice the first time I saw this photo. Somebody on Instagram had to point it out to me that this was in the photo. And then on the right here, we have a Cherry Blossom, Godzilla 1954, and Jet Jaguar. I'm waiting to get more details on what exactly these are, if they're going to be exclusive at some point. I don't believe that they are, but they do say Q1 2025, which means that they're due very, very soon, unless they've been delayed somewhat. The Aurora card says Q2 2025, so that will be in the next 3-4 months. I do expect that there will be the standard carded version, but like the first one, there will be an SDCC boxed version. That's not confirmed. That's just me speculating at this point. And as we move along, yeah, so there you get a closer look at Jet Jaguar. We'll skip ahead a little bit. There is the Fun section, which I know Fun is probably not like big with the folks that collect stuff like Haya or Monster Arts, but I love my Funs. I think that they're super duper fun, for lack of a better term. But here you have Destroyer, who's looking so menacing yet so cute. We've got Burning Godzilla, which I think most people expected. But then on the end, we have Godzilla 2001, GMK Godzilla, which is, again, like the Godzilla from my favorite movie. And this actually brings us our first piece of Millennium merchandise from Super 7. So I'm actually quite stoked to see them jumping around a little bit in terms of era. We got Heisei and Reiwa in Wave 1. Now we've got Heisei and Millennium in Wave 2. So that's really exciting to see. And then we have the minus color variant, Amazon exclusive, -1 from the first wave. So lots of good stuff there in terms of fun. Here's the whole set. On the bottom, Super 7's debuting a new line called Super Duper Plush, $17. Godzilla 89 and Mecha Godzilla 73. If you're big into plush toys, then cool. Maybe I'll grab these for my daughter, but not something I'm super burning to get. Taking a look at the higher levels of the booth, we see here a Godzilla -1 blind box set. Here we have two translucent versions. I do believe that they are both translucent blue. One has a beam, one is in a standard roaring face. One is the standard paint job with Godzilla with his heat ray effect, and then there's one in the back of Godzilla, sort of a neutral pose, but he's roaring, and then the last one is Godzilla with the train in his mouth. There are closer video close-ups on the official Super 7 Instagram account and Twitter, so you can go and check that out. But those are the 5 variants. There may be a 6th one that's a mystery one, but I actually don't think so. This is set to be released. The actual tag says it's available right now, which means it's going to be coming out like imminently. And I believe that this is going to be a hot commodity. There's nothing at the tag saying and indicating that it's going to be an exclusive of any sort, so it shouldn't be too difficult to get your hands on. Interestingly enough, that this is going to be the first blind box set that Super 7 is releasing with unique sculpts. I'm not sure how I feel about that, to be honest, but they are all variants of -1, and I feel like all of them are really, really cool. So it's a little bit of a give and take in that situation. I imagine if you are really looking for that train biter, or you're really looking for the heat ray, then it's going to be a little bit obnoxious to get, but hopefully they're not too expensive, sitting right in at the $15 mark. Taking a look in here, we get our first look up here at Super Kaiju Wave 2. This is Burning Godzilla 1995. I have gotten confirmation that this Godzilla is cast in translucent orange and then painted over, which is really exciting. I wish that the Wave 2 version was like that, but maybe they'll do another version in the future. And yeah, that's what we're looking at. That's one figure. I think that there's going to be another one, and based on the fact that we have a box sample here, it should be not too much longer. And I think this might be all of the close-ups that Toy News had for Godzilla. The only other notable piece is that blind box series, the Maru-san, and the, if I can get back to it, the Maru-san up here and the Godzilla Monster Island, these are both due any day now. And they are both confirmed to be general releases. Neither of them will be exclusive, so if you're into those, they should be available direct from Super 7. I know Walmart's got Monster Island up. I know other retailers have gotten Maru-san listings up, so those should be out in not too much time. And then rounding out some of the misfits, we've gotten the next MonsterVerse versus DC pack. We got the Batman and King Kong before, which I know folks weren't too keen on the King Kong because he looks like he only has 5 points of articulation. But here we have Godzilla, and Godzilla looks massive in comparison to Kong. He looks like quite a large figure. I would not be surprised if he's closing in on a similar size to the NECA Godzilla 2014 from 11 years ago at this point. So this Godzilla is confirmed to have an articulated tail. He's got an articulated jaw. The legs and arms swivel at the points that they connect into the body. They might be on ball joints, but I really doubt it based on what we saw with King Kong. So this set, I do think that the price was outed by a retailer listing. It will be the same price as the Kong Superman set, or Kong Batman set, I believe. But Godzilla is obviously much bigger than Kong in terms of volume, so I wouldn't be surprised if he's a little bit more expensive just because he's going to take up more space on the shelf. So yeah, he looks pretty cool. Like, you know, I feel like this Godzilla is going to sell pretty well, even if he's just going to sit on the shelf for the most part. And then finally, the big sleeper surprise that came out of nowhere, NECA is putting out a figure, one of the Ben Cooper kids, with a Godzilla costume. And there's an added layer of complexity here because it's not just any Godzilla. This is the Marvel Godzilla costume and the depiction. So there's an added layer of, you know, having to work with Disney and Marvel to get the approval to actually release this. This, again, came out of nowhere. Everybody pretty much assumed that NECA was done with Godzilla stuff. And then they come out with this Ben Cooper kid wearing the Godzilla costume. And so people are, like, you know, rightfully asking questions like, wait, did they get the license back? And to that I say, I believe that this will be a one-off. I've reached out to 2 people. Neither of them are able to give me clarification at this point because they don't have it. They're not sure. But the license to feature a Godzilla costume on your figure, I believe, is fundamentally different than the license to make Godzilla figures. And so I wouldn't put too much stock into this, meaning that NECA has the license back for, you know, I do think that Haya is pretty much excelling at the NECA price point and the level of detail that you would expect from NECA these days. I think Haya's already got it locked down. I don't think there's any reason for NECA to pick the Godzilla license back up. Like, maybe they'll be a little bit cheaper, but I don't think they'll be anywhere near as accurate as Haya is getting them. So, but it's it's an interesting thing. Like, NECA's doing Godzilla stuff again. Like, maybe the door is not closed to them forever if something happens in the future. So yeah, it's a neat little one-off. I really would not look too much into it in terms of, you know, meaning that NECA is going to start making Godzilla stuff again. So that's pretty much all the big stuff from New York Toy Fair. So we had our Playmates, we got our Haya toys, McFarlane, Super 7, Ben Cooper, NECA apparently. There was a Bandai booth showing off some movie monster stuff, but I don't really cover that too much on my channel because it's not stuff I'm interested in. I think Rob's like super excited though, so go pay attention to Rob's YouTube channel for for the next couple hours or something. Yeah, so that's gonna be it from me covering New York Toy Fair 2025. Lots of good stuff, and I think the hits are gonna keep coming. I think there's gonna be some more announcements maybe through this week. Wave 3 of the third figure of Wave 5 from Super 7 is said to be coming out very soon. So keep an eye out for that. Blind boxes, all this stuff. It's going to be a really, really good month and a good finish to the quarter 1 of 2025. So thank you so much for watching. And until next time, I will talk to you again soon. Bye-bye.